From tattooing kids at McDonald's to bringing an arsenal of weapons to Disney World, here are 10 of the strangest arrests ever made. Number 10. Tattoos at McDonald's. A man in South Carolina was arrested in 2021 for giving a child a tattoo in the middle of a McDonald's restaurant. Oh yes, this is really a thing that happened. It makes you wonder what people are thinking. Even more shocking is that somebody posted a video of it happening, which is the only reason the cops got involved at all. The tattoo artist who was brave enough to give an underage child ink in the middle of a McDonald's is Brandon Prescia, 28 years old. He's not only facing charges for tattooing a minor, but also for tattooing without a license. But if you thought that a person willing to tattoo a baby was a wholesome person who just made a mistake, think again. As it happens, Brandon was already on probation for assault and battery. He got sentenced back in December to spend 3 years in jail, but the sentence was reduced to 2 years of probation. Unfortunately for Brandon, the illegal tattoo almost certainly violates his probation, so he's probably going back to jail for that full 3 years. Number 9. The Baby Man. A man who looks like a baby and has numerous strange tattoos on his face was recently stopped in Two Rivers, Wisconsin, and booked on his 5th DUI. You wouldn't believe it by looking at the photos, but this guy is actually 29 years old. Somehow he looks both 10 and 50 with a receding hairline and a baby face. His name is Corey P. Smits, and he was placed on probation for 3 years by Judge Patrick Willis. Maybe he took pity on the baby man and didn't give him any jail time. Considering this is his 5th DUI, a bit of probation probably isn't going to stop him from drinking and driving in the future. Honestly, he should probably be sent to prison for repeatedly endangering other people's lives. Police stopped him in the first place because he was swerving through a residential area. When the officers pulled him over, they found Corey had bloodshot eyes, he could barely walk, and he reeked of alcohol. And to make matters worse for himself, the baby man then became belligerent and needed to be pepper sprayed when he lashed out at the officers. That must have been a weird scene, the officers trying to arrest an aggressive baby-faced man with tattoos. Number 8. Redneck Rave. In Kentucky, a country music festival turned into a nightmare when the Edmonson County authorities had to descend on the Redneck Rave and arrest 14 people, with an additional 48 people being charged from 5 different states for various crimes. There was throat slashing, the use of drugs like crystal meth, and a whole lot of active warrants among the partygoers. The very first vehicle that police stopped going into the music festival contained both meth and marijuana, as well as an open bottle of alcohol. By the time the Redneck Rave ended after 5 days of crazy partying, one man had been impaled, a woman had been strangled almost to the point of death, and somebody had gotten their throat slit open. That's right. These are punishments that seem straight out of a medieval jousting match. But it's true, they actually happened, and in the United States. Apparently this is just the kind of thing that happens at Kentucky music festivals. The event was organized by the country rapper Justin Time, and no surprise, it was held at an off-road park. Tens of thousands of people showed up, there was a demolition derby, some concerts, and even a football game. The individual who cut their friend's throat open is still at large. Oh yeah, and somebody even lost a part of their finger. Should an event like this be legal? Should the police work to stop it from happening next time it's planned? What do you think? Tell us your ideas in the comments down below. Then remember to subscribe to World List if you haven't already for more intense videos just like this one. Number 7. Holly Boob. 6 people were arrested by police in Los Angeles for messing with the famous Hollywood sign. The prank involved changing the W and D on the sign so that they looked like the letter B. This turned the sign from Hollywood into Holly Boob. And while some people might think this is hilarious, the Los Angeles Police Department did not. According to the LA Times, 5 men and 1 woman were responsible for the prank, which they claim was to raise awareness for breast cancer. Also, the woman involved was Julia Rose, founder of the adult magazine Shag Mag, who wanted to get the attention of Instagram boss Adam Mosseri. Julia is angry because Instagram suspended her pages because of nudity, even though they hadn't suspended Playboy's Instagram pages when they were showing essentially the same thing. But in the end, nobody got through to any Instagram executives and the whole group was arrested. To be fair, this seems like a pretty harmless prank to raise awareness in my opinion, but what do you think? Number 6. Upset about tomatoes. A Florida woman has been arrested because of an angry outburst in a Burger King restaurant. According to the police, they were called to the Burger King at around 6 p.m. because a 77-year-old woman was upset over how thick her tomatoes were. In response to the unsatisfactory tomatoes, the woman threw her burger at the restaurant employee and called him a racial slur. Officers responded to the call and arrested Judith Ann Black just after she peeled away with her husband in a Ram pickup truck. Thankfully, surveillance video managed to get the license plate on the pickup, which the police used to track her down. They then matched her driver's license photo to the video from inside the restaurant. Anne may have gotten away with a warning if it hadn't been for the racial slur. Police said that the verbal prejudice actually enhanced the misdemeanor charge to a felony charge. This angry woman could now be facing jail time, and all over some tomato slices. Number 5. Stealing a gator. And yes, just in the nick of time, here's a story about another crazy person from Florida. This time, a man has been accused of stealing an alligator from a golf course and then later trying to flood his holding cell. The crazy man's name is William Hodge, and he did more than just steal the alligator. He took it from a miniature golf course, swung it around by its tail, and tried to throw it onto the roof of a building. When questioned by the police, William said he was doing it to teach the reptile a lesson. He neglected to mention what lesson that was exactly, but it was a pretty nasty scene of animal cruelty. Once William was taken into a holding cell, he filled the toilet with paper so that it flooded and drained onto the floor, threatening to flood the entire station. That's right, he was already in jail, and then he thought it would be a good idea to try to cause damage to the police station. He was ultimately charged with animal cruelty, injuring an alligator, burglary, and criminal mischief. As for the unfortunate alligator, it's since been returned to its home at Congo River Golf. Number 4. Mean review. A woman was arrested in Australia and ordered by the Supreme Court to pay over $370,000 in damages for posting a review on Google. Did you even think that was possible? A fine for a fraudulent, nasty review. How about that? Cynthia Emisides went to get some surgery done on her nose and cheeks by the cosmetic plastic surgeon Dr. Karush Tavakoli. After the operation, Cynthia lied to her husband by telling him that the doctor had not completed one of the procedures. She then complained in a Google review that the doctor had not performed the operation as he should have when she knew this was a lie. Court documents claim that within just 1 week of the negative review going up, the doctor's traffic dropped by 23%. No one knows exactly why the woman first lied to her husband, but she probably made the fake review to keep up the original lie. It ended up costing her almost $400,000, as she was ordered to pay the doctor in damages for defamation. In other words, don't leave reviews on Google if they aren't true. Number 3. Voting illegally. Here's a criminal who was actually a hero. This is one arrest that was part of a historically significant event, and nowadays people look back on it as one of the many times that a person stood up for their rights in the face of an unjust law. Susan B. Anthony voted in the 1872 presidential election. She did this in her hometown of Rochester, New York. Before voting, Susan had spent 50 years of her life dedicated to women's suffrage, their right to vote. When she cast her ballot, she knew she was going to be in some seriously hot water. She was only able to do it thanks to 3 male accomplices who registered her as a voter and accepted her ballot on Election Day. Almost immediately after she voted, police arrested her, they indicted her, they gave her a trial, and they convicted her of voting illegally. During the court hearing, Susan described the situation as the greatest judicial outrage history has ever recorded. The men in the courtroom didn't really care, and they sentenced her to pay a hefty fine of $100. Women being unable to vote continued after Susan for another 50 years. It wasn't until August 18, 1920 that the 19th Amendment became part of the Constitution, giving both men and women the right to vote for their leaders. This was exactly 101 years before today. Number 2. Farting with intent. This guy is no hero, but some people might think he deserves an award at least. An Austrian man was arrested and charged roughly $500 when he farted at a police officer. Police in Vienna didn't think it was very funny when the Austrian tourist broke wind loudly and intentionally directly in front of them. But just what kind of legal case is this? Is it illegal to fart in front of a cop? The police answered this question in a tweet, saying that of course nobody's going to get in trouble for accidentally farting. However, the Austrian man allegedly behaved provocatively with his fart. He was uncooperative with the police and then farted when he felt threatened. Maybe it was just a defense mechanism. Then again, maybe he did do it on purpose. In either situation, it's not as if the police were in danger. But still, they described him as letting go of a massive intestinal wind with full intent. The police also admitted that they don't like to be farted at. They charged the unruly gas passer with public indecency and made him pay a significant fine, hopefully dissuading him from any further aggressive flatulent antics in the future. Number 1. Guns at Disney. Since the beginning of 2020, over 30 people have been arrested for bringing firearms into Disney World. As of the time of this video, that's less than 2 years. And apparently it's getting worse. According to a report from the Orlando Sentinel, more and more people are bringing guns into Disney World each year, turning the happiest place on Earth into one of the more dangerous places on Earth. These people don't get arrested because they're allowed to wear their guns anywhere underneath their clothes. Disney World's strict policy against guns doesn't really stop these individuals from doing what they want. But just why on earth are so many people being arrested for carrying their guns into Disney World? Insider reported that it's been a result of the pandemic and political unrest. It may also have to do with a general unwinding of society and unraveling of people's mental states. To give you an idea of how alarming this is, only 4 such arrests were made in 2016. The amount of people walking into Disney World with handguns and other firearms tucked under their clothes has skyrocketed. To give you an example, a man was busted in October of 2020 for bringing an AR-15 and a handgun into the resort where he was staying at Disney World. When asked why he would do such a thing, he said he was scared for the safety of his family. Let that sink in. Scared for the safety of his family at Disney World. What's the craziest arrest story you've ever heard? Tell us about it in the comments, and thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to hit that subscribe button and come back for more. Thanks again, and we'll see you next time.